Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, dear EMPM graduating class of 2012. I have now the privilege to start the celebratory part of today's program. We will today take part in the graduation of a new cohort of executive students, of which Karin Müller-Badorek was one of them. Special thanks to you for the bravery to do the speech and to share these thoughts and remembrances with us. And even though this is already my fourth graduation speak I have the pleasure to hold, this is still an absolutely exciting and thrilling moment for me. It's hot. I hope not only for you. As I was looking for some inspiration for this speech, I came across a nice little story I'd like to share with you. It comes from the speech of the American writer David Foster Wallace, and he tells it like this. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish, swimming in the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two young fish swim for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" I wanted to share this story because it reminded me of something I often hear from our EMPM students. It is so easy to get caught up in the daily grind, in the overflowing email inboxes, even during the classes. The constant string of meetings, business as usual, to be focused on your specific area of responsibility and the tasks that come with it, that you lose track to the larger context you're working or swimming in. What we have heard over the years from many EMPM students is that one of the most valuable aspects of this program is the chance to think, and Karin has already mentioned it, to think outside of the normal patterns, to discuss and analyze cases and share experiences with fellow students from very different institutions, from very different contexts and countries, from different waters, if you like to say. But this might sound very vague to an audience who is rather unfamiliar with, or some of you are unfamiliar with what we do in the program. So allow me to give you a short idea of who our students are, how they spend their time studying at Hertie, and why we are celebrating them today. Back in 2008, when we launched the program together with the University of Potsdam, our main motivation was to prepare experienced professionals for executive positions in the public sector. There wasn't still, and Karin also mentioned that, a substantial gap between what is taught in most classrooms and the real life of an executive in the public sector. In other words, theoretic academic knowledge of a single discipline, such as law, economics, is important, but simply not sufficient as the nature of governance has changed dramatically. In today's world, public and private sectors become increasingly intertwined. As a consequence of the financial crisis, the state suddenly owns shares of private banks. Or as conscription is abolished, the German armed forces find themselves competing with private sector employers. We had a student who was really in the middle of this challenge. The matter of tax evasion can only be tackled efficiently if the authorities are working closely with the private sector, instead of simply buying overpriced CDs with dubious copyrights. I could go on, but I'm sure you got the point. In order to master these challenges, we not only need a mutual and holistic understanding of the subject, the issue, but also to critically reflect and the different sector logics and identities, but also to critically reflect, apply, and adopt new methods, approaches, and concepts. This is what the Executive Master of Public Management is about. Over a period of 1 or 2 years, our students are developing the understanding, expertise, and skills needed to successfully manage public sector, international non-profit organizations, achieve results, and foster what you've learned today, better societies. But also what I think is very important for us, new forms of intersectoral cooperation, intersectoral dialogue as another focus of our program. Program kicked off with just 2 graduates in 2009 and has been growing constantly. With the new cohort, we have now over 125 active and graduated EMPM students, and in June 2012, we had a great first ever alumni reunion in the beautiful Uckermark scenery. And there is more to come, for sure. that this development is a huge success for the Hertie School and would not be possible without the substantial support and commitment of our partners. First of all, and I think it was already mentioned, but nevertheless I would like to emphasize it again, the Hertie Foundation, today represented by Professor Michele Lamont. Thanks a lot for your unwavering commitment to our program and to our students. Next, I would like to express my big thanks to KPMG and especially Dr. Ferdinand Schuster, who supported this program substantially from the beginning, from an early stage on. And finally, we are very fortunate to have the University of Potsdam as our academic partner. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Gebhardt and Professor Ingo Juchler, for this partnership and for being here today with us to celebrate this new class. But none of this would have happened without the employers of our graduates who allowed them to arrange their work schedules to accommodate seminars and friends at the school. And to the partners, families and friends of our graduates, and some of them, or many of them are here with us today, I would like to say thank you for leaving us those fine students that I will now turn to. Dear graduates, it has been an absolute pleasure to accompany you as program director through these 2 last years and also be your teacher. Looking at your impressive CVs, I often wondered what else to possibly tell you. The exchange of ideas and experience has not only been very enriching indeed for our program, but also for me personally. Referring to the water anecdote I started with, and just being back from my sabbatical in Australia, I can say teaching you feels like diving at the Great Barrier Reef. Fresh and inspiring, given the enormous number of colorful species. Sometimes there are some sharks, but don't mention that today. So, dear EMPM graduates, let's take a look at who you really are. Well, if one combined all your characters, experiences, and skills in one person, you would undoubtedly create a superhero. This creator would look back on 228 years of professional expertise in all sectors, speak 6 native languages, and it would hold the astonishing number of 7 PhD titles. I'm using this image just to demonstrate how diverse the class of 2012 is and how much potential and creativity we were able to gather. And the new class is, the next cohort is already there, and it's similar impressive what we are going to experience the next years. Amongst you, there are, of course, lawyers, political scientists, and economists, but also a criminalist, a sports scientist, a hydrologist, a psychologist, and scholars of Lutheran theology and Jewish studies. You're working in organizations as diverse as regional federal state government bodies, the German Bundestag, the Bundeskriminalamt, the armed forces, universities, think tanks, the European Aviation Safety Agency, parties, religious institutions, or private foundations and consultancies. All of you have continued to pursue your careers while studying at Hertie. This meant a significant increase of your daily workload and coffee consumption, and less time to spend with family and friends. But why on earth would you do that? What brings you back to university at a time when you seem to have closed the academic chapter? You surely need good reasons to justify these efforts. Is it the prospect of student life, of cramped, filthy VGs, parents funding your laid-back lifestyle? Definitely not. Is it about spending nights at boozy student parties? I don't think so, or more likely, I have not been invited. We'll maybe see tonight. Each of you will have had his or her personal motivation to join the EMPM, and each of you will have some stories to tell about the consequences of this decision. Thanks to Karin for sharing her personal motivation experiences with us, and to say I have the small hope that building Lego bricks towers was not the only thing you take away from studying at Hertie, but nice thing. All I know is that we expected a lot from you, and that the schedule has put some high pressure on you. Having mastered this program, you deserve our deepest respect. Congratulations on reaching this day. You were brought together from many different countries and work contexts, and you will return to these destinations. But there's one thing that you now have in common. Let's call it the Hertie experience. professionally, this experience will hopefully take you even further than your high-flying careers already have. Globalization and the changing nature of governance offer huge professional possibilities and countless opportunities to apply your knowledge and to pass it on. We believe that the EMPM has enabled you to shape the environment around you and to contribute to more successful societies as outlined in our speech by Michele Lamont. I hope that you will keep Berlin, the Hertie School, and its staff in your hearts and brains. And on behalf of the faculty, I can assure you that we definitely will treasure and miss you. The graduating class of 2012. Congratulations and all the best for your future.